Decades ago, we might not have imagined complex surgery done with tiny cameras and incisions the size of a mosquito bite, or lasers that could save vision and zap tumors. Those medical treatments are now common, but once they were as striking as what you're about to see. Here are 3 areas where researchers may have found medicine's next big thing. This is a ride no one wants to take.
I tripped and fell and hit the back of my head on the sidewalk.
Primarily what we'll see for trauma patients are car accidents.
My brain was bruised and had blood clots on it.
Folks who have fallen a great distance, victims of violent shootings.
I had to do surgery immediately.
About 1.5 million Americans suffer serious brain injury each year. Nearly a third die. And of those who live, 60% end up with some neurological dysfunction.
Falling from that distance, only 5 or 6 feet up, and hitting your head hard enough, you can have a very bad head injury.
An injured brain swells and prevents red blood cells from carrying oxygen where it's needed. Brain tissue dies.
If you can get oxygen to that tissue, you can salvage a lot of the tissue.
On the first frontier, an artificial blood called oxycyte.
When you take a carbon atom and you add fluoride to it, it can carry a huge amount of oxygen.
Oxycyte particles are 1/50th to 1/100th the size of a red blood cell.
If your body can't get regular red blood into your brain, these little tiny particles can get there and we believe deliver the oxygen.
7 of 9 patients given oxycyte in an initial study not only survived, but had remarkable results.
The patients who survived had normal neurologic function.
Now the Department of Defense is helping fund clinical trials with the hope that oxycyte can help treat soldiers suffering from traumatic brain injury. Blood transports life-giving oxygen, but it can also carry deadly disease.
The vast majority of viral pathogens, viruses that are known to be infectious to man, are not treatable with drugs and vaccines.
So scientists on the second frontier are testing a new form of attack with a device called the Hemopurifier. It works like a dialysis machine to filter blood.
In essence, the cartridge is mimicking your natural immune response of clearing viruses and toxins from circulation.
The goal is to clear blood of viruses related to measles, mumps, and flu, even a bioterror threat like smallpox.
We have an ability to address the capture of a broad spectrum of viral conditions.
The third frontier, hospitals with the capacity to create human organs on demand.
We've heard phrases like science fiction and this stuff is just out of this world.
Maybe, but in Caitlin McNamara's world, it's made life more like that of an ordinary teenager.
I really love to talk on the phone.
Caitlin was born with spina bifida.
It is hard living with any disability, especially with spina bifida.
Kate's bladders never functioned correctly because of the spina bifida.
When her bladder stopped working, her kidneys were damaged, and she faced lifelong dialysis.
You know, it makes you think what our future's like, what our quality of life's going to be.
Caitlin became a medical pioneer, the first to receive a custom-made bladder.
We can grow those cells outside the body and create a new organ, put it back into the patient, and it's genetically matched to that patient so there's no rejection.
Researchers at Wake Forest University harvest cells from a healthy section of the bladder, grow them in a lab, and place them in a mold or scaffold where they assume the shape of a natural bladder.
We've got probably 20 or 30 different organs or tissues that we're working on.
The downside? It takes months to grow, so scientists are looking for a faster way, something they call bioprinting.
We need the ink, we call it the bioink, we need the paper, we call it the biopaper, and we need the printer, the bioprinter.
The printer drops clumps of live cells onto the biopaper. Those drops fuse and assemble themselves into the desired organ shape. The first test used chicken heart cells to print a tiny chicken heart. The result?
We just suddenly saw that the whole structure was beating.
Growing organs and growing hope. For patients like Caitlin, it means the prospect of a healthier life.
I'm really thankful for them for finding something to help me.
The bioprinter is also being used to create artificial blood vessels, and the researchers who created Caitlin's bladder are now working on man-made kidneys.